All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us in this session. As you saw in the last session on the connected store, we're now going to be talking about different integrations and unified data points to bring into Security Center. And with me is Jordan Rivshin. Jordan is the Director of Business Development for Hanwha, one of Genetec's premier platinum level partners. Jordan, how's it going today?
It's going well, Scott, and appreciate you having me. And that last session was definitely right on point for what we're trying to do from a retail perspective today.
Oh, absolutely. I think it'd be great to tell our audience a little bit about your background, given that you've actually come from loss prevention.
Yep, absolutely. So I spent the last probably 15 years of my career on the end user side of the LP industry. Got my start at Nordstrom, moved to Target, of course, Genetec end user there. And for the past 8 years till about 2018, I was at DSW, Designer Shoe Warehouse, also now a Genetec client as well, and led the loss prevention department there for the better part of about 7.5 years, from all facets, from investigations to technology analytics, exception reporting. And really my role here at Hanwha now is to continue to work with end users, VPs, directors, operators within the AP and LP space to make sure that the technology that Hanwha, formerly Samsung, is engineering makes sense when it's applied into the real world.
Yeah, for sure. I know you guys just had an absolute great run in terms of multiple retailers that we're working with. Product is great, great warranty on the cameras, and nothing but good feedback from all of our customers that are working with you guys. So, I guess with your loss prevention experience, right, the whole idea of data points, not just looking at video, not just recording video and trying to find something, especially in today's environment when we're looking at, unfortunately downsized loss prevention and asset protection departments, right? Trying to do more with less. I guess that really hits home, and that's really kind of the basis of what you're going to talk to us about today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the harsh reality of what's going on today is everybody is tasked with doing more with less, and how can we use technology as a force multiplier to help enable smarter retail, whether it's an investigation, whether it's a risk management claim. How can we deploy cameras with edge-based analytics to help us be more efficient with what we're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think you got a presentation that you're going to share with the audience here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just get it going here. So, as you've continued to kind of allude to through these presentations today, we're talking about the connected store. So much of that connected store is reliant on edge-based technology feeding information to Security Center. And really what we want to hone in on today specifically is how we can enable smarter retail with edge-based artificial intelligence technology. So we're going to talk about things like accurate event detection, efficient forensic search, object search specific to a person, a face, a color of clothing, or a vehicle or type of vehicle, and how that can apply to both business and security intelligence. So not just virtual line trips for motion at night, but hey, I want to know if a car's waiting for curbside pickup, and I only want to know if a car is there versus if just motion trips. So that's really the nexus of what we'll talk about today, and of course, we'll open it up to questions at the end if we have time. So before I get into the nuts and bolts of the technology, I'd be remiss without kind of introducing or reintroducing who we are as a brand to this retail ecosystem. So, of course, we've got some mutual customers today, but for those of you that don't know who Hanwha is, we're about the 7th largest company in South Korea. We are formerly Hanwha Techwin. So you could see the transition or the evolution of our brand. In 2016, Hanwha Group, which is a Fortune 500 global South Korean company, came in, acquired Hanwha Techwin, and just continued to pump money into it from an innovation and technology standpoint. And Scott mentioned it. We just continue to look at new ways to add more features, more functionality, more intelligence to the edge. And that's really what has brought us and Genetec together in this fantastic partnership that we've got. So, from a technology standpoint, we develop our own chipset. We actually just released this month WiseNet 7. Don't have enough time to talk about that today, but I would encourage anybody to go to our website to look at that. And then from a retail perspective, any form factor you're thinking about is offered by us, from covert, analog, all the way up to 8K cameras, 32 megapixel, we have it. Again, we've evolved from Samsung. We continue to invest in our background, but we also continue to innovate and add new product with the evolving retail ecosystem. So from an integration perspective, when we're talking about Genetec, and obviously that's the reason we're all here today, it's a couple of things that I wanted to mention before we get into how this technology works. We are, again, as Scott alluded to, one of the premier partners for Genetec. Our integration is at the API level. So in the past, for those of you that may have tried our cameras, up until recently, we were doing a hybrid approach. This new approach with Sunapi, which is the Samsung Unified API, allows for a more robust and deep integration, so you can maximize all the features, analytics, and whatnot within the cameras. What does that mean to you as an end user in the Genetec ecosystem? Secured authentication, we're part of the firmware vault. Encrypted communication and streaming. Of course, we want to make sure in this retail environment with PCI and PII and all of that data, that the video is encrypted too. It's encrypted as it's coming to Genetec. It's also encrypted at rest while it's stored. And then device password management. We know that with many of our customers, and specifically Genetec customers, these large implementations, it's cumbersome to manage passwords. With this integration, we're able to administer password management through Genetec directly to our devices to make deployment easier. And then lastly, Stratocast. We are a Stratocast partner. Again, we've got a very immense product line. Most of that product line is integrated today. L series, X series, and you see here coming fall, we've got L and X, and then coming fall is Q. So if you've got questions about what all of these things mean, obviously you can feel free to reach out to myself, one of your Genetec sales representatives or BD folks, and we can definitely take you through what that integration looks like. But this tight integration, Scott and team, this is exactly what's driving what we're going to show you, which is the development of how we can take these edge-based analytics and really put them to use in this retail environment.
Jordan, you mentioned Stratocast up there, and are you starting to see a large migration to the cloud? We definitely are from our side.
Yeah, it's coming up in daily conversations. How can we get servers out of our locations? How can we change from a CapEx to an OpEx model? So that question from a QSR perspective all the way up through specialty retail and big box is happening. It gives you flexibility and scalability in how you can deploy cameras. And that's that's why we're excited about that integration that we can now offer. So again, we've been talking about this connected store, and there's a lot of elements on this graphic that we feel like we are part of that connected store, from occupancy management, where we can deploy our cameras for people counting in a traditional security field of view type of way instead of the top down vertical approach. Those retail analytics like queue management, anything from a security analytic like line crossing, enter, exit, appear, disappear, vehicle, in unauthorized area. All of these things are happening on the edge. And then now we're going to take it a step beyond that with the power of AI and show you what edge-based AI analytics can do from a retail end user perspective. So for years, and I mean years, I go back to my DSW days. I would go to NRF, I would go to RELA, I would go to all these shows, and I would see Samsung at the time at the shows, and they'd talk about edge-based analytics. What I've come to know of those analytics is, traditional pixel-based analytics are good in some scenarios, but they could always be improved, and that's really where research and development, from our perspective, has focused a lot of time. So our cameras today, most all of them, have all of these analytics built in, face detection, that we can even deploy down to a PVM to give this deterrent impact. We can do loitering detection, intrusion, enter, exit, appear, disappear. On the retail side, queue management and heat mapping, of course. All of these things are edge-based. We don't license them out, and Genetec, quite frankly, doesn't license them out either as we bring those alerts in. But what we've been able to do, actually over COVID, we released a new AI camera, and that AI camera will allow us to do things similar, but with more accuracy. And that's what we want to hone in on today. So what we did is we worked directly with the Genetec development team and our research and development team, and we built a plugin with Genetec's SDK, their software development kit. And that software development kit plugs directly into our P-Series AI camera. These cameras they come in a variety of different form factors, bullet, box, dome, vandal dome, flush mount dome, so they can fit whatever environment inside or outside of a retail establishment. But what we can do is we've trained these cameras using computer vision to understand and detect and distinguish between certain objects, a person, a face, a vehicle, and a license plate. And I'll just pause on the license plate. It is not doing LPR. It is simply recognizing the presence or the shape of a license plate on a vehicle. And that can be used for forensic search in the future. But what this plugin can do, and you've got kind of a screenshot here, and I'll take you through some videos, is we're not just recording the video, but we're actually recording the metadata as well. And then within Security Center, as long as you're on 591.0 or beyond, we are able to then drill down and start searching or creating event actions off of those attributes or those objects. So you can see it here. It's great to see still images, but I think the videos will definitely help you guys understand that. So let's talk about how Hanwha and Genetec can take these AI-powered analytics and put them to use in the retail setting. So, from the top down, we've got people counting, queue management, person and vehicle search. I kind of honed in on that. From a people counting perspective, we are, I believe at this point, the only Genetec partner that can actually use this edge-based AI technology to do people counting for the Genetec occupancy plugin that they have to do people counting from a standard field of view. So again, we're not dedicating a camera just for people counting, looking at bald spots or the tops of someone's heads. We're actually deploying a camera for a general surveillance field of view and using the AI algorithm to count faces coming across a virtual line. On a person and vehicle search, think about all those retail investigations that we have with limited information. Back in my DSW days, you get an LPMS incident report that says, hey, it was a male wearing blue and he came in on Tuesday. Okay, how many hours of time are we spending looking for that? With this plugin, you can generally just go right into the camera, find the date or time that you were looking for, plug in those attributes, and find those images instantaneously. We can also do more intelligent video analytics. So things like intrusion, enter, exit. Don't just know that an object came into an area, but know that a person or a vehicle or both came into that area, and then create an event off of that. These are the things that we can do with AI. Obviously, COVID wasn't a thing when this camera was created, but because it is an AI camera, through firmware, we actually trained the camera what a face mask looks like now. So we actually added to the firmware face mask, so now we can alert or alarm off of the presence or the absence of a face mask. That is the power of AI as well. So this slide really helps kind of visualize what items we can search for within Genetec. Again, face, color of clothing, upper, lower, bag, age group, glasses, face mask, gender, vehicle type, vehicle color, and license plate. Again, those are all searchable attributes. So creating very accurate event actions off of these types of attributes is going to turn that cumbersome investigative process, that forensic review of, hey, I think a customer fell in this area and this is my description, into a very quick and efficient way to conduct video review. And Scott, you alluded to it. We have to do more with less right now. So this is how we can use technology as a force multiplier.
Expediting investigations like this, Jordan, is huge. Making those smart searches much faster is got to be something that's going to be beneficial to all the customers out there that are looking for that type of technology.
Yeah, to me, it's a true game changer. And again, from a Hanwha perspective, it's license free. We've built the intelligence into the camera. we don't license it out. You're not going to get dinged every year from a Hanwha camera that you have to pay, or else you lose the fee. That truly is a value. And again, as evidenced by the face mask detection, we will continue to enhance this product through firmware, and it will continue to get better and more retail centric. So as use cases come up, bubble those up to myself or your Genetec SE, so we can document those and add that into the feature request list. That's how our product has evolved because of folks in the retail ecosystem and some of the other ecosystems that we work in. It's also interesting to mention that this does have sound classification, audio detection, and an audio clip on alarm function. So for instance, if deployed in a retail setting and the camera recognizes a person is in an area where they shouldn't be after dark, let's say, you can actually have an embedded wave file trigger out to a speaker and notify that person or that vehicle that they need to get out of the way or leave before law enforcement's called. That again is all edge-based. It's also trained to listen to things like gunshots, glass break, scream, or explosion, and can have those same event actions directly in the security center with the intelligence that's right there. So without further ado, I think it's great to talk about it again, but let's see what it looks like in action. This first video is going to highlight, again, we're clicking the AI, Hanwha AI camera here, and we're going to look for, in this case, a specific thing. So you can see as we're searching here, we're going to look for a vehicle, we're going to look for a car, and we're going to want to find a white car. That was the description that we had. Again, you're going to see almost instantly, we've got the video pulling up and we select it. And then we've obviously increased the size of the image here, and we've got the white car. You're noticing bounding boxes on the objects. There you just got the bounding box on the white car. Those bounding boxes are going to be unique to the vehicles or objects that the camera is able to detect. Here we've got a white SUV going through there. We're going to look for a white truck at this point. So we'll click white truck. As soon as we click here, again, we're going to present the video. You can see, and we're talking 150, 200 yards away from here at that stop sign, we saw that white moving truck come by. Again, changing it on the radio button there, we've got blue. Again, instantly finding that object. Think about how much time this is saving, Scott, from a forensic review perspective. All you need is a basic description, and the video is going to do the work for itself.
Oh, absolutely. And what was the resolution on this particular camera, George?
This is a 4K camera.
Okay.
The first part of the P series that we released, this AI camera, they are all 4K in resolution. We will be releasing several lower megapixel options, specifically for retail over the next, call it 6 to 9 months. But this is 4K.
It looks great. It's a great looking picture.
Oh yeah, the image quality is beautiful. Let's look at what a person search looks like. Again, in my Nordstrom Target DSW days, you insert the blank retailer, you have basic information of a suspect or of an individual that happened to slip, trip, or fall, let's say. In this case, hey, we want to look for a female wearing purple or pink. You could see just by drilling down female attribute as the gender, upper color clothing is kind of a purple or pink. We've instantly found this individual within no time. Same thing here. As I get into the next scene, we're going to look for an individual wearing blue. Again, as I click these buttons, male wearing blue, you're going to see, and I can even name the color on the bottom if I want to. We're looking the duration. Obviously, we're naming that. So this is within the last, let's say, 1 week. It's going to find every object that it classified as a male with blue and what it believes to be red on the bottom. I will be the first to tell you, nobody should expect 100% accuracy with any AI analytics, whether they're ours or somebody else's. But what I would say through the testing that we've seen through research and development and field testing, the accuracy within Security Center is fantastic. You can see, we can drill in on that individual. We can obviously identify him wearing blue, and then we can save that. We can run a report within Security Center. There's a bunch of actions that you can take after that point that, quite frankly, your Genetec team would be more equipped to talk about than I would. But what I would say is what we're doing is we're feeding in that metadata in conjunction with that video, and all of that is searchable. So the way that the Genetec team is doing this is we're sending this best shot, which is essentially a JPEG image, with every clip that's coming through the camera that it can recognize, whether it's a face, a person, again, a license plate or a vehicle. That best shot has all of that embedded metadata and then correlates to the video that you saw there. So again, just a beautiful marriage of edge-based technology and the power of Security Center to really bring these things to life, enabling, more accurate event detection. Again, think about yourself as a Home Depot or a Lowe's potentially, where you've got a yard of goods outside at night and you want to set a motion alarm. Again, we can set motion on a person, or we could set motion on a vehicle, versus just motion when pixels change. And that's really what, again, these edge-based AI analytics have been able to empower. Options are limitless. And Scott, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but the testing that we've done and the initial deployments that we've had, we've been very pleased with the results.
Yeah, absolutely. The bigger thing being that this is actionable intelligence. You've set the parameters up front. You want to know when this particular event's happening. So it's not just a forensic search tool. It's a proactive data point, right, that can give you real-time information when you need it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, the camera, the occupancy solution out of it with people counting, the queue management, those are all things that you can be informed on and take action immediately, versus leveraging it strictly for the forensic tool. So you could really put it to work for you. It's not one or the other. All of these analytics that are on the on the cameras can be enabled, and it's not going to impact the camera one way or the other, and it's not going to impact Genetec obviously either. So you could set it up for people counting, you could set it up for queue management, and you can use it for line cross. It just makes you more efficient, quite frankly. Sure.
And I think the bigger thing is obviously being able to also run multiple analytics on the edge, right, in one camera. You're not limited to just one specific thing like people or object search, right? You're going to be able to do all of those from this particular camera, from this unit.
Yeah, you could see here, Scott. This is drilled right into the camera's webpage. Under the analytics tab. We have obviously traditional motion detection analytics if we want to record on motion, of course. But you can see here, I've enabled the virtual area, and within this, I can have 8 areas where we can have intrusion. Again, this intrusion zone right here is set to only alert me if a person's there. Versus if I enable vehicle. So you could have multiple zones, multiple analytics, rule-based. So, again, intrusion has a minimum duration. So if you just want to be alerted if someone entered an area, then select enter. But if you want to know that someone's in an area for an extended period of time, you can use intrusion or you can use loitering. And again, it's up to 8 different areas per camera. Again, you can do alarm outputs, you can do audio clips, all of those things. Again, on the left here, face mask detection. That's what we just flashed the firmware with. So there's a lot that you can do, and you're not confined by just selecting the best one for your scenario.
Sure. And through Security Center, obviously, we can put these on schedule, right, so that they're only going to alert given, during specific hours, right, after hours, if we're trying to monitor if folks are getting close to the store, when things are closed. So, yeah, so many different applications, so many different things that this would benefit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody's dealing with the same thing with new normal right now. This camera right here is deployed in my driveway. I have it set up to detect on a schedule if a person's in my driveway after dark. I'm probably a crazy security guy, but it does give me peace of mind that I'm getting a notification to my mobile device that a person's been detected. Versus in the past, you're getting a false motion trip if a dog walks by. So it can apply into a lot of different scenarios for sure.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing too, right? Is how well it's going to perform versus false, and especially when we start talking about things like virtual fence, right? Where the old pixel-based, analytics, if you had, a cat or, if the leaves were blowing through, right, you'd get that false alarm. And I think a lot of people that tried analytics early on saw that they just weren't meeting the expectation for every one real alarm, you were dealing with 999 false ones, so they started tuning it out.
Yeah, it's the boy who cried wolf, right? You can only be fooled so many times before you're just going to forget about it. And I don't have to quote all the stats, but we know that people have a limited attention span for how much video they can watch, right? So
sure.
This will allow you to watch less video just more efficiently. And that's where we're going to take it, and we'll continue to evolve it, right? So with the feedback of our customers mutually, the features that we have today will hopefully change and improve over time. And that's the beauty of being able to flash firmware to a device without having to, change out hardware, quite frankly.
Yeah, for sure. This is great, Jordan. I think this is really beneficial. So we're at about 25 minutes of our session. So if it's good with you, we'll go ahead and open this up for those of you that are watching. If you've got questions, feel free to enter them into the chat bar on the side here of the Teams platform. Jordan will be glad to answer any of those questions. And I can just tell you again, this is something that I think retail has been asking for a while. The price point on it, the fact that it's included in the cost of the camera, I think is phenomenal, right? And I think that gives a big leg up on a lot of the other analytics, because that's always been the thing when especially with your history and working at Target, where you've got a very, very large amount of cameras, trying to put an analytic on every one, it becomes a tough ROI to try and make from a capital expenditure standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. And from our perspective, we firmly believe the concept of a proof of concept, of try before you buy. So if you guys are out there and you're interested in leveraging this type of technology, from our perspective, you can reach out to me at any point in time. We can talk about what a POC would look like, how we can install this within Security Center. Do I see this in every camera in retail? No, but there's definitely key cameras that this type of intelligence, this type of analytic could add value. Key choke points, entrance, exits, focal areas. Again, high shrink areas where you want more accuracy. This is where I think we can probably take it. So love to take questions at this point for sure.
All right. So we'll now take a look and see what questions are coming in from the audience. Again, I want to thank everybody for attending this as well. I think it's been a great session, and we're looking forward to your questions. If we don't answer them live during this session, we will get back to you via email or reach out and connect.